In this video, we are going to discuss compound inequalities. So compound inequalities are just two inequalities joined by the word and or the word or. So compound inequalities are two inequalities with the words and or. And means they're going to overlap, or means they're going to go separate directions. So and looks something like this, or looks something like this, where there's no overlap, there's a gap. So when we look at our first example with an or, x is less than 3 or x is greater than 7. You can't pick a number in between there. 4 isn't less than 3, and 4 isn't greater than 7. So the solution must either be less than 3 or greater than 7. So when we have an or problem, we are just going to solve both inequalities. So my first inequality is going to say 4x plus 3 is less than 11, and my other inequality is going to say 3x minus 4 is greater than 8. And I'm just going to solve both the way you did in your last lesson. Subtract 3, 4x is less than 8, divide by 4, x is less than 2, add 4, 3x is greater than 12, divide by 3, x is greater than 4. Okay, my first one here, x is less than 2, I need to graph, and I also need to graph x is greater than 4. 2, open circle, it's less than, so it's all numbers to the left because 1 is less than 2. X is greater than 4. 5 is greater than 4, 6 is greater than 4. So it's all numbers in that direction. So it has to simplify one or the other. So x is less than 2, or x is greater than 4. And you would do every or problem that way. Inequalities with the word and, you're going to see them written like this a lot of the times. 3 is less than x, which is less than 7. X is greater than 3 and less than 7. So you can read it a few ways. They are going to overlap. So it's all numbers between 3 and 7. So in a problem like this, 4 would work. 4 is greater than 3, but 4 is less than 7. When you solve an n inequality, you can just do the math here. So we're going to treat it like we always would if we just pretended that 1 wasn't there for a second. My first step would be to add 8. So I'm going to add 8 to the stuff on the right, and I'm also going to add 8 to the stuff on the left. So now this is going to say 6 is less than or equal to 3x, these cancel, less than or equal to 18. Now, again, if you pretended 1 wasn't there, to get rid of that 3, I need to divide by 3 everywhere. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 6. So now, 2 needs a closed circle. 6 needs a closed circle. It's going to be all numbers in between. So you're going to connect your two dots. You can also solve it, if I wrote it over here, you can make two inequalities. I can cover this guy up and write 1 and solve it. I can cover up this guy with the inequality symbol, and the other one would just be 3x minus 8 is less than 10. Whichever method is preferred for you. But your answer will only be where they overlap. Okay, same thing for the next one. I'm going to subtract 6. And then I'm going to divide by a negative 2. Whenever we divide by a negative, our signs flip direction. So 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. greater than or equal to now, greater than or equal to negative 6. So negative 1, oop, not on my number line. I'm going to graph a new guy. I'm going to put negative 6 here, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. Close circle, connect. I also want to show you how to do it like we did in the last example. So I wrote down the problem in example 3 at the top. And like I said, you can break it into two equations or two inequalities. I'm going to cover up the less than or equal to 18 sign. And I'm going to have 8 is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 6. I can also cover up this inequality sign and everything to the left of that, and I have an inequality over here. Negative 2x plus 6 is less than or equal to 18. So now I have two inequalities to solve. It's going to be an end because it's set up like this. From there, I do the math, subtract 6, 2 is less than or equal to negative 2x, divide by negative 2. Because I'm dividing by the negative, the sign flips, and I get negative 1 is greater than or equal to x. Same thing here. Divide by negative 2. Because I'm dividing by a negative, my sign flips, and 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. So you're going to have two inequalities. Negative 1 is greater than or equal to x, and because we had an end up top here, x is greater than or equal to negative 6. You would do the graphing the same exact way. Negative 7, negative 6, negative 5. I'm going to graph this one in blue. So go to negative 1, and I'm putting a closed circle at negative 1. Negative 1 is greater than or equal to x, so all the numbers to my left are less than negative 1. And I'm going to do this one in pink. X is greater than or equal to negative 6. So go to negative 6, close the circle, and it's x is greater than, so all numbers greater than negative 6, which is this direction. Now if you notice, I told you it's only where it overlaps. So our final answer is just the information for the numbers that fall between negative 6 and negative 1. Right, if you have any questions, just make sure you ask your teacher or sign into office hours for some help.